We're diving into something fascinating, the hidden forces in your brain that quietly control your decisions. They're called cognitive biases, and even though they sound like something out of a psychology textbook, they're actually part of your everyday life. From what you buy, to who you trust, to how you see yourself, biases sneak in and steer your choices without you even realizing it. So let's break down some of the most common ones in a simple way, and I'll also share how you can protect yourself from them. The anchoring effect. Imagine you're shopping for a TV. The first one you see costs $2,000. The next one costs $1,200. Suddenly, the second one feels like a bargain, even though it's still expensive. That's the anchoring effect. Your brain latches onto the first number you see and uses it as a reference point. Why it matters. Salespeople and marketers use this trick all the time. They show you a high price first so that everything else looks cheaper in comparison. How to avoid it? Don't rush your decisions. Take a step back and ask, would this still feel like a good deal if I hadn't seen the higher price first? Confirmation bias. Let's say you believe pineapple belongs on pizza. You'll notice and agree with posts that say, yes, pineapple is amazing, and you'll probably ignore or argue with posts that say otherwise. That's confirmation bias, the tendency to only pay attention to information that supports what you already believe. Why it matters, it can trap you in your own bubble. Whether it's about food, politics, or health advice, you might be ignoring evidence that could change your mind for the better. How to avoid it? Challenge yourself. Actively look for opinions that are different from yours. Even if you don't change your mind, you'll have a clearer, more balanced perspective. The halo effect picture. You meet someone who's really attractive or well-dressed. Without realizing it, you might assume they're also kind, smart, or trustworthy. That's the halo effect, when one positive trait makes us assume a person is good in other areas too. This can make us trust the wrong people, hire the wrong employees, or even buy a product just because the packaging looks nice. How to avoid it? Pause and separate looks or first impressions from actual qualities. Ask, do I have real evidence, or am I just being influenced by surface-level traits? Availability heuristic. Suppose you just saw news about a plane crash. Suddenly, flying feels dangerous, even though statistically, it's far safer than driving. That's the availability heuristic. Your brain judges the likelihood of something based on how easily you can recall an example. Why it matters. It can make us fear the wrong things or make poor choices. You might worry more about shark attacks than heart disease, even though the latter is far more common. How to avoid it? Look at the actual data instead of relying on what pops into your mind first. Just because something is memorable doesn't mean it's common. Loss aversion. Think about losing $50 versus gaining $50. Which one feels stronger? For most people, the pain of losing is twice as powerful as the joy of winning. That's loss aversion. Why it matters. It makes us cling to things we don't really need, stay in bad investments, or hold on to toxic relationships, just because we fear the loss more than we value potential gains. How to avoid it? Shift your focus from what will I lose to what could I gain? A balanced view can help you make smarter decisions. The bandwagon effect. Ever bought something just because everyone else was doing it? Maybe it was the latest phone, a trending diet, or even a viral challenge. That's the bandwagon effect, the tendency to follow the crowd. Why it matters. It can make you spend money on things you don't really need or adopt habits that aren't actually good for you. How to avoid it. Ask yourself, would I still want this if nobody else cared about it? That simple question can stop you from blindly following trends. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Here's a funny one. People with little knowledge often think they know more than they actually do. That's the Dunning-Kruger effect. On the flip side, experts sometimes underestimate themselves because they know how complex a topic really is. Why it matters. This bias can lead to overconfidence or self-doubt, both of which can hold you back. How to avoid it. Stay curious. Remind yourself that confidence should come from learning and experience, not just assumptions. And if you're an expert, give yourself credit. You probably know more than you think. The status quo bias. ever stuck with something just because it's the way things have always been? Maybe it's keeping an old subscription you don't use, or avoiding change at work. That's the status quo bias, preferring things to stay the same even when change might be better. Why it matters: it keeps you from improving your life. Comfort feels safe, but it might hold you back from better opportunities. How to avoid it? Ask, am I keeping this just because it's familiar or because it's truly the best option? The self-serving bias. When things go well, we take credit. I succeeded because I worked hard. When things go wrong, we blame external factors. I failed because the system was unfair. That's the self-serving bias. Why it matters: it protects our ego, but it also prevents growth. If we never take responsibility for mistakes, we never learn from them. How to avoid it? Be honest with yourself. Celebrate your wins, but also own your losses. That's where real growth happens. So there you have it. 9 cognitive biases that quietly influence your decisions every day. The important thing isn't to completely eliminate these biases. You can't, because they are part of being human. But you can become more aware of them. And awareness is like a superpower. It helps you pause, question your thoughts, and make decisions that are truly your own. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone who loves psychology or self-improvement. See you in the next one.